All right, so how do you manifest love in your life? Not just a specific person, but I'm talking about true love, a soulmate, if you will. And should you try manifesting a specific person in the first place? Now, this is a huge topic in the LOA community, you know what I'm saying? But out of all the stuff I've seen out there, I think Neville Goddard has a really good perspective and can shed some light on this. And if you follow his advice, you'll get what you want and you'll hurt no one. Here's what he says. Neville mentions how he's had people say to him, I want that man and no other man. And he says to him, no, you don't. You want to be happily married. You don't want that man or no man. And they fire back, oh yes, I want that man or no man. And what he says next always shocks them. He asks, but what if he dropped dead right now? Would you want to be married? They say, well, he's not going to drop. And Neville's like, I didn't ask you that. If he dropped dead right now, or if he's right at this very moment accused of being the world's greatest thief or murderer, would you still want him? And they're like, why ask those questions, Neville? I want that man. You see, what Neville's trying to show them is that deep down, ultimately, they don't want that man. What they really want is to be happily married. How does he know that? It's because Neville's gone to so many weddings where it was either that man or no one. And guess what? It wasn't that man. They ended up marrying someone else. And so they get all embarrassed when they see Neville standing in the aisle because they remember telling him that man or no man. But then there they are walking down the aisle, happy, by the way, with their new partner. I mean, should we be surprised? Things happen. People change. Desires change. Okay, so what does it mean to be happily married then? Neville puts it like this. When your spouse comes home, the house is full. But when they come home and you aren't there, the house is empty. For example, Neville says that if he comes home and Bill's not there, Bill's his wife. Or even if he has friends over for like a party or whatever, but Bill's not there. He says, the whole thing's empty until she comes. And if she goes out and says, I'll be back at 5, and she isn't back at 5, but she comes back at 6, well, Neville says that between 5 and 6, he's not himself. He wants to know where she's at. Because for him, if he could come home and it didn't matter whether or not she was there, he's like, then what on earth am I doing being married? If it makes no difference, if there's no concern at all whether or not she's there, he's like, that's not marriage. The house must be empty when one of us aren't there. Because he knows that someday, one of them is going to pass first and leave the other behind. That's inevitable. But while we're together, he says, I want it to be so that the house is empty if the other one isn't there. And I'm selfish enough to want her to feel the same way. Something to think about. Now, do you want to manifest a loving marriage or relationship with a specific person? Okay, nothing wrong with that. Just don't be a freaking stalker or do anything shady. Just follow the golden rule. And be open too, because who knows, there might be someone else better for you, right? But here's what you do. It's simple. Go to the end. You always go to the end. In other words, clearly imagine already being with that person. What would you do? What would you say? How would you act? Feel his or her arms around you, their warm embrace. Hear their distinct voice telling you that they love you, etc. But you might say, but I don't know anyone, or no one likes me. How could I imagine when I can't put a face to it? You don't have to. The power is in its implication. The power is in its implication. For instance, does motherhood imply marriage? Not necessarily. What about intimacy? Not that either. But a wedding ring does, right? At least in the Western world. So imagine wearing a wedding ring because of what it implies. Take your imaginary hands and feel the ring you'd imagine to be there. Twist the ring around your finger. Admire it. And just keep feeling it until it seems to be solidly real to you. And you saying, I'm so happy to be married. Or say whatever helps you to feel its fulfillment. Now, if you're a guy, you can do the same thing because men wear rings too. But if you don't want to do that, Neville says that you could assume greater responsibility. How would you feel if you had a partner to care for? Catch the mood. And then fall asleep in that assumption. And just watch. The inevitable will happen. Let that person come. Your desire will be realized because you get what you believe. Yeah. Alright, if you appreciate this video, hit that like and subscribe button and that bell to help support my channel. And if you're ready to live the life you really want, then click the link below to learn more about Law of Assumption Mastery, how to manifest anything the Neville Goddard way. Like I always say, more's coming. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.